I think we are live. Okay. Yes. So we did it till 37, I guess.
Yes.
Bruh. तेरी 38. 38th answer I marked A and you marked B.
And who's correct, or are we both wrong?
I'm correct. 38th is A.
Standalone converter. Oh, 38 is a standalone converter because one shot batch translation with no live source to preserve does not need on the fly.
I think your method of elimination did not work over
No,
here.
brother, this was not method of elimination.
So what was this?
I thought I would go with file format plugin. That's why. If method of elimination would have been over there, then C could have also been an option. I did not select C anyway.
Hmm. So what is this? An archival job must translate a fixed pile of legacy mesh files to USD. Exactly once for cold storage. So this was, I think, the keyword. Exactly once.
Mm-hmm.
For cold storage, the originals will be deleted afterwards. So nothing needs to stay an authoritative live source, and no on the fly composition is ever required. Which implementation is best? Because one shot standalone converter, because one shot eliminate translation with no live source to preserve, do not need does not need on the fly composition. Hmm. Okay. This is again in data exchange. Yeah, bro. Like I'm telling you, let's do this today after the quiz.
Mm-hmm.
This part. OpenUSD. First of all, let's complete the glossary after the quiz. I think we are almost done with the glossary.
No, dude. The glossary will take more time. For sure.
Bro, because glossary has a lot of things that we have not touched.
So I know, but I'm telling you, either this or that. You cannot cover everything. You have to decide on today. Like either you're gonna do data exchange first or glossary. Because if you say glossary, glossary will definitely cover up all the time of data exchange for sure. The glossary is big ass.
I know, but I don't think we'll have to go into depth with everything in glossary because
No,
this is
we
there's like
usually go like do we usually go in depth with most of the things. Like we spend an hour on every freaking concept over
we'll see, bro. We'll see, but we'll first start with we'll complete glossary first
there.
because
Okay.
that is important,
Yeah.
and then data exchange. this part, and then the instancing. So these three things I'm trying to do like properly because they are covering a lot of questions from there. And anyway, today we can stretch a little bit because I
Mhm.
have a holiday tomorrow. Okay. So, okay. Which implementation fits best? A standalone converter because one shot batch translation with no live sources to preserve does not need on the fly composition. All right. 939. You selected A, I selected C. What was the question? Publishing a vehicle asset or tool set every mesh USD geom mesh under a geometry scope and every shade USD shade material under the looks scope. Both children of the asset default from surfacing artist later edits only the asset's shading without touching its silhouette and modeling surface teams contribute in parallel. Because beyond tidiness, what does the geometry slash looks split primarily accomplish for these downstream contributes? You selected A, I selected C.
What's the answer? C.
Answer is C.
Uh,
Method of
I
elimination.
know a lot of questions will be wrong. Publishing a vehicle asset, a tool sorts every user geomesh under a geometry scope and every shape material under look scope. Both material of the asset default from a surface artist later edits the shading without touch.
Bro, you should have gotten this correct. This was not that complicated.
Component look and looks as a kind of component defines clearly as little modulus. I think I don't know for some reason I thought it is more for the model kind component thing. That's why looks as
Mm.
a kind component. That's why I went with this for some reason. It defines clear jurisdiction, isolating the model geometry products. So each term.
In pipeline development, the main focus for
Mm,
OpenUSD and their documentation is mainly to divide jurisdiction for different layers
front of asset,
and different teams.
surface.
So that's why I always go with that option whenever that's in the option because that is the main focus.
Mesh, what does geometry look split to across the line string? I see. It defines clear jurisdiction of models.
I have read this multiple times because
Mm-hmm.
define clear jurisdictions. 39th was C. Alright, question 40. You selected D, I selected B. Answer is C. Damn. A team prototyping arbitrary end user fields on prems and debating between authoring them as namespace custom properties versus stuffing them into custom data metadata. Per OpenUSD guidance, why are custom properties often preferred for this prototyping? A team is prototyping arbitrary end user fields on prims and debating between authoring them as namespace custom properties versus stuffing them into custom data metadata. Namespace custom properties. Okay. Per OpenUSD guidance, why are custom properties often preferred for this prototyping? Custom data is composable dictionary type that is more costly during composition, whereas custom properties avoid the overhead. Oh, I thought it was inverse.
A team is prototype arbitrary and user fields
I
on.
thought custom data would be less expensive to
Let's see. What is the answer? How many options do we have to
ans-
select? C.
answer is C. I selected B. You selected
Data is
D.
composable dictionary type. That is, I knew it, bro. Like after 30, we are gonna get a lot of wrong over here because these are the questions that were kind of tough. Custom data is composable dictionary type that is more costly during composition, whereas custom properties avoid that overhead. A team is
But
prototype.
it's still decent. We don't have a lot of wrong until
Bro,
now. Like you have two more wrong than me.
dude, I think if you go down, like we have 20 more questions to go, so we will figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of 40, we have
I
like
think
till
because
now
the
one, two,
last ones
three,
were pretty
four,
tough.
five, six, seven. 7 questions are wrong out of 40 till
Let's
now.
see. Let's see.
For me.
For me, it's nine. So let's see. I
Yeah.
think the 20 more will be a deciding factor. This is component
Okay.
dictionary type that is costly during. So whereas custom properties avoid that overhead. Okay.
Let me. Where is this part? Or learn OpenUSD latest beyond basics custom properties. Beyond basics had custom properties. Uh, and where is that? Custom properties are created and managed using USD API. They can work just like schema attributes and relationships. Custom attributes are more common because they hold various types of data such as numeric values, strings, or arrays, and can be sampled over time. This flexibility makes them useful for a wide range of applications from simple metadata storage to complex animation. For custom attributes that are not part of any schema, we use USD framework, create attribute method, value type names. Setting custom equal to true has no impact on the way that OpenUSD treats the attribute. Creating custom attributes. But as how all the sensor related attributes share the sensor prefix, the nested namespace, structure, organization, group property, make it immediately clear. But where is that part? Custom property. Hmm. Um, Okay. I'll ask this to AI because I want to understand in here a team prototyping arbitrary. First of all, what do they mean by arbitrary end user fields and who is the end user? On prems and debating between authoring them as
We are the end
namespace
user.
custom.
I would say other developers are the end users. A team is providing arbitrary end user fields.
Namespace custom properties. Between authoring them as namespace custom properties versus stuffing them into custom metadata. Until that is getting generated, let's see what's the next question. 41, we have answered A. Answer is B. Damn.
During transformation by pruning the animation as step. Data exchange weak. A source
I
delivers
told you, bro, data exchange is the weakest
rigging and
part.
animation, but the only consumer is a CAD review tool that has no use for animation. Where in the two-phase exchange should the relevant information be dropped? Dude, I was going with B, right? I know I was going with B, and then I think we had a
You could have
discussion.
gone with B. I didn't stop you.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just explaining you why
yeah.
I
During
chose A.
extraction by skipping the animation entirely. So the extracted stage never contains it. And what is the explanation over here? Let's see. Pruning belongs in transformation phase, operating on faithfully extracted stage because transformation is explicitly where data not relevant to a given workflow or a client is prone to better meet and client needs. Skipping animation during extraction is wrong because the extract phase should translate the source as directly and faithfully as possible to preserve fidelity and round tripping, not selectively omit data. Calling the client pruning part of direct source mapping is wrong because tailoring output to a particular consumer is the goal of transformation, not extraction. So rereading the original file to extract is wrong because transform step works on already extracted stage rather than going back to the source. A source delivers okay and delivers rigging animation data, but the only consumer is CAD review tool. Okay, it has already delivered the data we are assuming over here, but the only consumer is CAD review tool. So the data is already extracted.
We have not already delivered. It
It
says source
delivers
delivers.
rigging and animation data. So it delivers. That means it's so.
It will deliver after it will
But
perform
but
the
but I think they have
extraction
already.
or run.
So I think, but based on the answer, the answer is assuming that the data is already been extracted. Like the for the answer that we have in our answer key on the last two lines, it says that rereading the original file to re-extract is wrong because transform step works on the already extracted stage rather than going back to the source. So it's assuming that the
Mm,
data was already extracted. And it says a source delivers rigging and animation data. So the source is already delivering the rigging and animation data. But the only consumer is.
nice. Hmm. I see. 42 should be correct. 42 is right. A and E. Okay, let's see what this has generated. Here, arbitrary end user fields mean extra user defined fields that are not part of an official USD schema yet. For example, a tool user wants to add random pipeline or DCC fields onto prims. Asset owner is Shaurya, department FX, approval status, blah blah blah. These are arbitrary. Beyond USD did not predefine because USD did not predefine them as a part of USD geomesh, USD lux, fairlight, USD shade material, etc. What the question is really asking, it is comparing two ways to store those extra fields. Namespace, custom properties, example, defx form turbine, custom string, USD properties, asset owner. What does this? What is it trying to do? Namespace, custom property, example. These are real USD property attributes on the prim custom data metadata. This stores the fields inside the metadata dictionary. Okay. Ooh. The custom properties are often preferred for prototyping because they are easier for DCC and tools to discover, display, edit, and round trip. Often preferred for custom properties are often preferred for prototyping because they are easier and tools to discover, display, edit, and round trip. Okay. Properties when the fields are user facing and tool facing use custom data for truly ad hoc metadata back data. Why custom properties are better for prototyping? They show up like normal properties. A custom property behaves like an attribute on the prim. Custom string user properties are a set on a short. So the tools can list it alongside other prim properties that makes it more visible than hiding values inside. Custom data, mental model, custom properties, visible field on the prim, custom data, hidden metadata dictionary attached to the prim. They can be typed clearly. You can define the exact value type. Custom string user properties asset owner. Okay, that is useful tool validation UI. Hmm. Extra user defined fields not part of official schema yet. Example owner status. Okay, so did you understand what arbitrary end user fields mean over here?
Arbitrary,
User fields.
I think fields that are designed by the owner.
Extra user defined fields not part of an official schema yet.
But will they be part of official schema?
No, not official schema. That's what it's written
But
over
not
here.
yet. It says not yet. But
Extra user defined fields that are not part of an official USD schema yet. For example, a tool user wants to add random pipeline for or DCC fields into prims. To random pipeline or DCC fields onto prims asset owner. So these are arbitrary because USD did not predefine them as part of USD geom mesh or whatever. Okay, I don't think it will be part of a schema, but it will be part of the prim. Do you get it?
it will be a schema, but it won't be a part of the
It,
premium.
it will be part of the prim, not necessarily a part of the schema.
Uh,
Schema is something which is predefined, a blueprint. If you want to create a new schema, then you have to create it through USD Gen schema or something like that.
yeah,
This is
I
just
know,
to
like you
add
can
on.
create custom schema, but oh,
What?
okay, okay, okay. No, yeah, I get it. These are arbitrary because USD did not predefine them as a part of geomesh, Lux, Spherelight, and shade material. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
DCC fields onto other terms.
Namespace custom properties. So these are the namespace custom properties. Custom string, USD properties, asset owner, USD properties, approval status. Okay, so this is how you create these custom properties. Namespace custom properties. There are real USD properties slash attributes on the prim. Custom data metadata. Example. Custom data is string asset owner. Okay, so this is the way to do it in custom data. It's sort of like a metadata dictionary. Oh, yes, perfect. Metadata dictionary. So, custom properties are often preferred for prototyping because they're easier for DCC and tools to discover, display, edit, and round trip. What does round trip mean over here?
Round trip, I think for forth and back, like DCC allows you to have a bi-directional connection. Like there are different types of converters, right? Standalone converters, one-way converters that we read.
Mm-hmm.
But ECC has both, so like you can convert from OpenUSD to another format, and then another format to OpenUSD. All
Mm-hmm.
that's what it means. I would say over here, round trip.
I see. Brother, there's 50% off on Gymshark. I ordered the clothes.
Easy, brother. Crazy.
50% off. Let's see how the clothes are. Why is my shoulder suddenly hurting? I'll just make a note of this. So custom data is still valid. It is useful for truly ad hoc metadata.
Truly ad hoc metadata. Yes.
Hmm. Arbitrary and user fee. Extra user defined field. Owner status. Example. Custom string user property. User property. Visible as normal prim properties.
Bro, I think I might go to Chicago for 4th of July because Tiger ain't stopping. The
Tiger and stuff.
yes. I'm like, okay, Tiger,
Congratulations.
I might. I'm like, but I said, Tiger, no more remote work. I'm on complete vacation, so I won't let you. If you want to do remote work, then we will take 1 week. Then he's like, then
Then what
okay,
happened?
let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Like, I don't want to be sitting at home, brother. If you want me to do remote, then I will do remote. But then we will do the complete week. He wants to
Insane,
do
brother.
skyline.
What?
Skyline, brother. Skyline.
Enjoy.
Skyline. I'm like, okay, brother.
Please enjoy
Yes,
for me as well.
yes, brother, we will. He's like, he was convincing me that, the lakes. No, bro, what I will do is walking that lake, brother. There's nothing in that lake. He's like, he's like, dude, your heart is gonna melt, and something else is also gonna melt.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, brother.
Custom data, metadata. Custom data. String as a relation. So keep this in mind. User facing field, we use custom properties, custom namespace properties, and internal facing metadata. Internal metadata bag is custom data. Bro, do you know Conor McGregor was in Central Park today? He was stretching
My
in
God.
Central Park.
Oh my God.
And I got to know very late.
Oh, you would have went?
Obviously, bro. Obviously.
I see.
Without a doubt, I would have gone if I would have known.
Mm-hmm.
And Erling Haaland was behind one block
Oh, really?
of my house.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he was at Cats Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
It's like literally one block away.
Oh, really? Crazy shit, brother.
All these celebrities are here in New York because,
Knicks. Dude, you saw that video? There was a girl doing.
bro, it was happening right outside my
Oh
office.
yeah, you were the one that you know.
I was the one who sent it to
Yeah, yeah, I forgot. Damn.
you. I was at the office today. I saw all the wild shit.
Wild shit, nigga.
She fucking tried.
What?
She started. She As soon as her pants came out, she started twerking, bro. Like insane.
Yeah.
Go Knicks.
Go Knicks.
All right, this one is done, and then 41 was okay. You said okay during extraction by pruning the animation as a step that operates on faithfully extracted stage. Two phase exchange. The animation is dropped during transformation by pruning the animation as a step. As a step that operates on the faithfully extracted state. On the faithfully extracted state. Okay, 42 was correct. I think. Yes, 42 is correct. It was easy as well. 43 is correct as well.
My God.
Tree.usd defines slash tree on variant set season autumn winter by authors. No selection. Two prims in scene. Each reference tree.usd. One wants autumn and other one. On each referencing prim since a variant selection. Okay, where can the season selection be authored? So each reference shows a different option. On each referencing prim, since a variant selection may be authored on a layer that references the prim, letting each reference pick its own option. Damn, how did we get this right? I don't even remember. A tree.usda defines slash tree with a variant set season, autumn and winter. Okay, so this has a variant set with two autumn and winter, but authors no selection. Two prim in scene. Each reference tree.usda, one wants autumn and other winter. Where can the season selection be authored? So each reference shows a different option. On each referencing prim, since a variant selection may be authored on the layer that reference the prim, letting each reference pick its own option. Yes. Okay. 43 was correct. 44. Answer is A, D, and E. So we selected A, C, and E. Damn.
Yeah. Replacing chain
The
of
time
references with
offset.
sub-layers would let get property stack return offset correct samples because sub-layers in layer stack. Dude, this was a fluke. This was something that we don't know. Like we knew E, but we didn't know the C option. I would say so. Animation merge tool
The
gathers
returned property stack omits the time offset needed when layer offset are authored on references,
the property
sublayers, or clips, so value
of
rebuilt
actor.bob,
from it come out shift time shifted.
where the actor is brought in through a chain of references, each carrying its own layer
Hmm.
offset, and then tries to assemble the contributing time samples into final animated value. The resolved value comes out time shifted, which two statements correctly explain the misuse and the proper fix. So, A retaining a USD attribute query for attribute is the documented purpose built way to perform the repeated offset correct value resolution that this merging tool actually requires. So the resolved value comes out time shift. The return property stack omits the time offset needed when layer offsets are authored on references. So layers are clipped, so value rebuilt from it come out time shifted. And we did replacing the chain on this. Dude, this was something that we didn't know completely, I would say. This was out of the course for us.
Out of the course, it's in glossary, brother.
I know,
I
like
will.
for us, like out of the course means that something we did not study it for. We did study it for, but we were not recalling things like specifically for the property stack. So it says the return property stack omits time offsets needed when the layer offsets are authored on references.
Help me, right? What is this? Hmm. Yeah. Prompt for the prompt. Mhm. Is it desire? I belong on desire. Drag out the band as well.
Which band?
This resistant band.
Oh,
Mm,
got it. Temo items delivered.
no, it's not from Temu. It came up with my pull-up bar from Amazon. It came free with the pull-up bar.
Mm.
Okay, raw or third time samples are not. The question is testing one specific idea. Raw or third time samples are not automatically in the final stages time space when they come through reference payload sub layer with layer offsets. What? Uh, is it this? Okay. The question is testing one specific idea. Okay. The study guide, playground, blah blah blah. Raw third time samples are not automatically in the final stage time space when they come through references, payload sublayers with layer offsets. The study guide places this around property stack, layer offset, time sample, and debugging composition issues. First, parse the path slash crowd actor slash Bob prim slash crowd actor, and property is Bob. What? Oh, you can do this as well. Mm, nice. Bro, Loki ChatGPT has a lot of cool features as well,
Mm.
like compared to
Let's see.
Claude
Raw,
and everything.
the raw third time samples are not automatically in the final time space when they come through reference payload sublayers with layer offset.
So Bob is an attribute or property on this, what the tool is doing. First of all, what was an animation merge tool gathers property specs from USD property get property stack or crowd actor dot Bob. The actor is brought in through a chain of references, each carrying its own layer offset. The actor is brought in through a chain of references, each carrying its own layer offset, and then tries to assemble the contributing time samples into a final animated value. The result value comes out time shifted, which two statements correctly explain the misuse and the proper fix.
Wait, it says
Mm,
which two? But the options
mhm.
were three. The fuck?
What?
Like it says two, but the options were three.
Which two statements correctly explain? Yeah,
Fuck.
hallucination on point.
Uh, Let me just verify.
Hmm.
Does return property, does return property star omits the layer offsets values.
So Bob is an attribute. An animation mouse tool gathers property specs from USD property get property stack. Property specs from get property stack for crowd actor Bob, where the actor is brought in through a chain of references, each carrying its own layer offset, and then tries to assemble the contributing time samples into final animated value. The result values come out time shifted. Hmm. What the tooling is prop.get property stack or USD property get property stack that gives the property specs. Yes. USD property get property stack. Property stack. List of property specs. Gives it a list of property specs. A property spec is a low-level SDF object that says low-level SDF object. That's this layer author something for this property. Yes. So the stack might include opinions for Okay, OpenUSD defines get property stack as returning strength order list of property specs that provide opinions for that property. Strength order list. The related API get property stack with layer offset returns those specs plus the cumulative layer offset from the stage's root layer to the spec layer. What does this mean? Get property stack with layer offset function returns those specs. Okay, I think the it's talking about the strength order list of property specs.
No, brother. Layer offset.
Yeah,
It's talking about the layer offsets that will.
yeah. Returns those specs plus. So the specs over here mean this.
Mm-hmm. It this specs that provide opinion for the property of property spec.
Yeah,
Okay.
plus the
Cumulative.
cumulative layer. Oh my god, bro, what the fuck is wrong with this shit? Uh-huh. Return those specs plus the cumulative layer offset from the stage's root layer to the specs layer. Where the bug happens, the actor is bought into references, and each reference has its own layer offset. So walk.usd has samples t equal to 1, 10, 20, but it is referenced with an offset of 100. So in the final stage, it is 100, 100, 10, 120. If there are multiple references in a chain, the offset accumulates. OpenUSD's time documentation says that sublayer references and payloads can apply scale or offset to time code coordinates for animated values from the target layer. The tool is doing get property specs, read their authored time samples directly, merge them as if all samples already live in the final stage time. That is a mistake. The raw property spec time samples are in local time space of the layer where they are authored. Okay. They are not automatically adjusted to the compose stage time after all reference offsets. So the tool sees sample at t equal to 10 and treats it as final stage sample at t equal to 10. But because of layer offsets, USD may actually resolve the sample at final state sample at t equal to 110 or some other shifted scale time. This is why the resolved values come out time shifted. The proper fix, there are two correct ways to think about the fix. Let USD resolve the animated value. Use the high level USD attribute API, attribute.getTime, or query composed time samples through the proper USD value resolution APIs. This is the safest approach because USD already understands layer strength reference payload. Okay, so do not manually rebuild composed animation from raw property specs unless you also handle composition time mapping. Prefer USD attribute.getTime for final resolved values. I see. If inspecting specs manually, use offset aware property stack. Use USD property stack with layer offset. Oh. Hmm. Because of the offset version, aware version gives you property spec plus cumulative SDF layer offset. Then you must remap each contributing specs authored samples times through that cumulative offset before assembling them. I see. Oh, Okay, now what was the question actually? An animation tool merges property specs from USD property get property stack, crowd, okay, where the actors body so on, and then tries to assemble the contributing time sample animated value. The result values come out time shifted, which two statements correctly explain the misuse and the proper fix. Retaining USD attribute query for the attribute is the document purpose. For attribute is the document purpose built way to perform repeated offset correct value resolution that this merging tool actually requires. Replacing the chain. And what was the answer? ADE, right?
Yeah.
The returned property stack omits the offset time offset needed when layer offsets are authored on references. Yes. Okay, now I get it. So yes, D would be the correct answer.
But where are we using property stack? Oh, we are using property stack over here. From USD property get property stack. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes.
The returned property stack omits when layer
Like always,
offsets
a Blaze would let
are authored.
correct samples because
And then the answer also is E, right?
yeah,
ADE.
yeah, E was correct.
Get
Replace
property stack is intended for debugging
a Blaze would let.
and diagnosis, not value resolution. So building a final from its result is misuse. Get property stack.
Oh, C is replacing the chain of references. Sublayers would let get property stack return. The oh, okay, okay, okay.
Which is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. What is it? Debugging and troubleshooting. Learn OpenUSD glossary again. Strikes again, brother. Glossary.
I'm not saying like everything strikes.
I'm not saying
Everything I'm saying is either
45.
you do that or either do you do this. So you have to prioritize one thing at a time, brother. You have to prioritize. You cannot
Brother,
split your
have you not
life.
heard Elon Musk's quote again? You
What?
know,
What?
let's do everything right now, today. I don't want to leave anything to tomorrow.
For sure, brother, for sure. Do it. You can do it all alone. Elon Musk was doing it all alone then. Brother, please go ahead. Complete
But
everything.
you're Elon Musk's biggest fan, right?
No, brother,
So,
I'm not. I'm fan of myself.
yourself.
Yes, brother, I'm not fan of anyone. Everyone has their own conditions.
What condition you have, bro?
Elon Musk says a lot of shitty things as well. You don't have to listen to everything.
But, bro, you quote him every time you get an opportunity. So,
When, bro, I do not remember it. I'm not remembering. I have to quote
bro,
him for
I will go
like,
back in stream
yes,
and
brother,
fetch the
please,
fucking moments.
please go ahead.
You know, bro, I'm gonna let AI take a look at all the streams and I'll ask it to generate like clips,
Yeah, yeah, bro.
shorts. Because as one of our leading investors is telling us, shorts gain more traction, So we are, he's investing in shorts.
Yes, sir.
Really, bro.
Yes, brother, please.
Clips and shorts. Okay, what was 45? Stage natively instances 600 analytical valves sharing a prototype. A non-performance sensitive audit tool must inspect an inner gauge subprim add line valve 07 gauge. What does the instance proxy provide that querying the shared prototype alone does not? A read-only path addressable stand inline that lets tool inspect the instance subgraph without following. Indirection to the prototype. Hmm. Damn, we got it right. It's crazy.
Wait, stage natively instances 600 identical valves sharing one prototype and non-performance. I think over here process of elimination was used for sure. A non-performance sensitive
How, bro? How?
audit tool must inspect the inner gauge trim at line valve oh 07 gauge. What does the instance proxy? So because it said instance proxy, so what does the instance proxy provide that querying shared prototype alone does not? Bro, because I think this was the only option that said a read-only path addressable stand in at line val oh 07. A flattened
What is the
duplicate of
instance
prototype that
proxy?
instant proxy doesn't do. An editable copy that thing also instant proxy won't do. And a separate prototype generated that option was also eliminated. So because of that reason, we went with B for sure. Now I know because a read only path addressable stand in at line valve oh 07 gauge that lets the tool inspect. So because it said read only, apart from it every other option said something that instance proxy won't do. That's why this
Mhm.
we were able to answer this one correctly, because we knew that instance proxies are only read only, not editable or nothing else.
I see.
Yes.
Let me understand this question. What does the instance proxy provide that querying the shared prototype alone does not? Does the instance proxy provide? Instance proxy provide. Okay. This question is testing native scene graph instancing and specifically instance proxies. The study guide calls out USD instances, prototypes, and instance proxy workflows under content aggregation. What the setup means, you have 600 valves, line valve 01, line valve 02, valve 07, valve 600. They are native instances, meaning USD does not fully duplicate the internal valve hierarchy 600 times. Instead, USD creates one shared internal prototype, then all 600 valves. Yes, I know this. So this is efficient. What line valve 07 gauge mean? Valve 07 gauge. The tool wants to inspect the gauge inside one specific value. Well, as an instance child, gauge is not normal independently composed child, but it's an instance proxy. What an instance proxy provides? An instance proxy provides a read slash query view of a prototype child, but through the namespace and the context of a specific instance. So instead of only seeing prototypes, gauge the audit tool inspect line valve 07 gauge. Well, let me first delete YouTube and Twitter. I'm wasting a lot of time.
Oh, really? STRC.
Hmm.
I'll be back in a minute.
Um, what are you doing, bro? Uh, but because Wow07 is an instance, its child gauge is not normally independently composed child prim. It is an instance proxy. What an instance proxy provides. Instance proxy provides a read/query view of a prototype child. but through the namespace and context of a specific instance. What are you doing, bro?
Listen. Okay. Where were we? But because value of 7 is an instance at child cow, which is not a normal dependency.
Mm,
Proxy.
there ain't no grave to hold my body down. Ah, let's go. So, what an instance proxy provides? An instance proxy provides a read query view of the property prototype child,
Mm.
but through the namespace and context of a specific instance. So instead of only seeing prototype 1 gauge, the audit tool can inspect line valve 07 gauge. That is the key difference. Prototype alone versus instance proxy. Querying the shared prototype alone gives you prototype 1 gauge. Okay, prototype alone versus this tells you here is the shared gauge definition used by all 600 valves, but does not tell you this is the gauge under the valve 07 specifically. It has no normal scene paths like this. Okay, and the question was staged natively, blah blah blah. Non-performance sensitive audit tool must inspect the inner gauge subprim at line wall 07 gauge. What does the instance proxy provide that querying the shared prototype alone does not? Read only path addressable stand in. Read only path addressable stand in at line 07 gauge that lets the tool inspect the instance subgraph without following in direction to the prototype. This is the gauge access through the particular instance valve 07. So the proxy gives the audit tool instance specific scene graph. So the proxy gives the audit tool instance specific scene graph identity. Important. It is not a unique copy. The valves or the instance proxy does not mean USD made a separate editable gauge for valve 07. It is still backed by the shared prototype model instance proxy equal to per instance window into shared prototype data. Duplicate child prem. Instance proxy means duplicate child prem. Not does not mean that. So instance proxy is for instance window into shared prototype data. Oh, bro, my shoulder is fucked. I don't know why. I didn't even do shoulder today.
Mm, crazy shit.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, the question says non-performance sensitive accessing instance proxies is useful for inspection, debugging, auditing, and AI workflows. But if a performance-heavy tool needs to analyze 600 rows, it may be better to inspect the prototype once and then reason about instance separately. Here, the tool non-performance sensitive use. So using the instance proxy is fine. Correct answer idea. The ability to inspect the gate subprim at its instance context path while still sharing the prototype data. Instance context path. Okay. What proxy gives? Instance specific scene graph path, context of the chosen instance, ability to inspect in nested prims inside an instance, no de-instancing required. What it does not give, no, not a unique copy, not a free editable independent data, still backed by shared prototype. Okay, I see. So do you want, are you clear on this now?
Yes, brother.
What?
Like, well, the question was preferably for instances, and then
Like just why? Okay, so the read-only path addressable stand in at this prim that lets tool inspect the instance subgraph without following in direction to prototype. Why does it happen?
because it's read only.
Wow, wow. Brother, sometimes, I am like amazed. Fuck, man. Like, oh my god. Like, because it's only read only. Okay, brother. As you say.
Yes.
46. You said A, I said D. Answer is D. Again.
Neither.
Win.
And
The
that's
elimination does not work again.
the lofts. Dude, I'm telling you, after 30, I already quit at that point. I was like, okay, I'm gonna fail this exam after 30. And I said lofts and exterior type variance set.
You should never give up, you know.
No, I sometimes
Some
give up.
wise guy,
No, bro,
some
I
wise guy
always give
once
up. You know,
told me,
that's my trait. I always give up. Ugh. Like fuck it,
wow,
we will see tomorrow. An asset lofts an exterior type variant set and an asset underscore turn firmware onto its entry point above the payload. To context reference, it's instantiable. One selects exterior type equal to brick, the other authors a different asset underscore tend. How does each affect prototype count? Neither generates a new prototype because lofting elevates these fields above the payload precisely so they compose without affecting the prototypes. And the differing variant selection generates a new prototype for that context, while the differing firmware does not generate a new prototype.
an asset lofts an exterior type variant set.
Set prim onto its entry point above the payload.
Uh,
Okay.
Exterior type variant set and an asset tint firmware onto its entry point above the payload. Two context reference it instanceable. Two context reference it instanceable. Two contexts reference it instanceable. One select exterior type equal to brick, others authors a different asset tint. How does each affect the prototype count? An asset lofts an exterior type variant set and an asset tint firmware. Okay. Onto its entry point above the payload. Onto its entry point above the payload. Two context reference it instanceable. Two contexts reference it instanceable. Okay, one selects exterior type brick, another authors a different asset tint. How does each affect prototype count? The differing variant selection generates a new prototype for the context, while the differing firmware value does not generate a new prototype.
Properties are elevated above the payload so that they can be vary per context without changing and that's why differing ascertained values do not create prototypes. While differing variant selections still do. Oh, okay. Differing ascertained values do not create prototypes, but asset selection does it. Selection selection does it.
The question is testing what kind of per instance difference do you do or do not create new data instancing prototypes. The NVIDIA study guide puts this under composition variants, payloads, firmware, and data. Blah, blah. First, translate the setup. Asset entry point exceeder type variant set asset tent firmware payload heavy content. So both of these are available on assets public interface prim exterior
Indeed,
type
selection does it.
structure variant choice asset
Okay.
tent inherit
Properties
inherited
won't create prototypes.
shading detail value. Then two short contexts reference the asset as instanceable. Uh-huh. The question asks if one context changes the variant. So the both of these are available. The assets public interface prim. Shading details. The two short contexts reference the asset as instanceable. The question asks if one context changes the variant and another changes only the firmware. Do they create new prototype? If one context changes the variant, if one context changes the variant and another changes only the firmware, do they create separate prototype? Yes. A variant selection changes the compose structure of the instance. Yes. Yes. Those are different compose results in native instancing. USD can share a prototype only when the instanceable params have the same compose prototype structure. So valve A selects exterior type brick, valve B selects exterior type metal default. These are all different variant selections, different prototypes. Notebook phrase variant affects composition, different variant selection, different prototype identity. Asset 10 does not create a new prototype. A primware like asset 10 equal to red, asset 10 equals to blue is usually just a value authored on the instance root or an ancestor and are inherited read by material or child parents. It does not change the yes, that is the reason. I knew it. This is something we read in instancing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I selected that answer. But I was trying to understand how this would look in USD. Like how does that look?
Yeah, ask him for
No, it has shown over here.
no, like
Asset
sample,
entry point.
sample code. That's so in the exam you won't get that. You will get the sample code. That's you would have.
Right.
What would you have to infer?
Okay, so prepend variant set xform house kind component prepend payload content.usda prepend variant sets exterior type lofted firmware above the payload. This can be overridden per instance without changing prototype count. Color 3F firmware asset tint interpolation constant. Mhm. Okay. Okay, okay. One new subscriber. Let's go.
For prim house, diff x farmhouse, kind component, prepend payload, intended USD prepend variant set, exterior type, after trim where above payload. This can be overridden per instance without changing prototype count. Color 3F prim where's asset and 111 interpolation constant. After the variant set above the payload, a different selection can create different prototypes, variant set, exterior type, metal, brick. Lofted variant set, exterior type. Where is the payload? Where is the payload? Payload is this.
Okay. Lofted firmware above the payload. This can be overridden, for instance, without changing prototype count. Color 3F firmware asset tint. Interpolation constant. Lofted variant set above the payload. Different selection can create different prototype. Variant set exterior prototype. Metal. Code author metal specific opinions here that affect the composed asset. Brick. Okay.
So for oh dude, it's an instancing, yes, primwares. Okay. Got it. I got it how lofting and that thing works. Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I got it too. My answer was already correct.
Crazy shit.
47th is A and C. It's
C.
wrong.
The missing kind is harmless because, and what is the C and D? The model hierarchy is broken because every ancestor of component must be group or subkind, and block 7 has no kind. Okay, bro, this was the thing we were definitely confused with DNA, and it's wrong.
Because every ancestor, oh, ancestor of group must be a group
Or group
or
subkind.
groups of kind. And block 07 has
Some
no
kind is
kind, making
harmless
the same.
because the kind is advisory metadata and not, but why is not A correct? Let's see. A should also be correct.
A scene reference has a scene reference, a house asset kind equal to component under directly under scene block 07, but the referencing prim. Block here. Block 07 carries no kind option, even though slash scene above it is kind equal to assembly. Which statement about this model hierarchy are correct? The missing kind is harmless because kind is advisory metadata and not consulted by composition. So A is incorrect.
Yes, according to that, according to the question, I guess. But let me see what AI says. Perplexity, bitch. Which statement about this model hierarchy are correct? It says, but
Authoring kind equal to group or a group subkind on block zero
we
seven
have got
restores contiguous chain of group kinded ancestors above the house component. So this was correct.
the rules
And it says model hierarchy is
in
broken.
question.
Breaking the chain. Hmm.
Okay, dude, because the statement was which the question was which statement about this model hierarchy are correct. So since the question was related to model hierarchy, we have to assume that the rules will be implemented over here. That's why A is
Mhm.
incorrect. Like that's where we went wrong. And that's why D is correct. The model hierarchy is broken because every ancestor of a component must be group or group subkind, and the block O7 has no kind, breaking the chain. Like, oh, okay, so that means if we are given a scenario where a model kind is where a kind equal to component is mentioned, then we have to make sure that the model hierarchy rules are followed. That is, all ancestor of a component must have the kind metadata set to either
Mhm.
a group or subkind of a group, such as assembly.
Mhm.
All ancestors of a component model must have their kind metadata set to either a group or a subkind of group, such as assembly. I see.
Oh. But it is just metadata, right? I mean, A should be correct as well.
No, the thing is, no, it's metadata. That's true, but if you are mentioning kind equal to component in any of the prim, right? Any of the prim in the model hierarchy, then you
Mhm.
have to make sure you have to mention the group and assemblies as well. That is the rule.
Mhm.
So all ancestors of a component model must have their kind metadata set to either a group or a subkind, subkind of a group, such as assembly. So that is a definite rule that you need to have, that all the ancestor.
Mhm.
And since we were talking about over here are the components, like the missing kind is hammered because kind is advisory and adversary metadata and is not consulted by composition. So the question says
Mhm.
the scene references a house asset kind equal to component directly under scene block 7, but referencing prim
Mhm.
block has no kind opinion,
Mhm.
even though scene above it is kind equal to assembly. House references direct. So there is already a scene reference that is mentioned under block O7. So see, and that has a kind component. Because of that, we have to make sure that there is some kind of a kind mentioned in the block O7 as well. Otherwise, the model hierarchy will break. If we do,
Mhm.
let's say, if we do not have the scene reference as kind equal to component mentioned, then would A be correct? Yes, if the scene reference would did not had kind equal to component as a model, then definitely it would have been correct.
Kind equal to component as a model.
Yeah, as a model kind reference, like in the metadata, if the kind equal to
Mm-hmm.
component was not referenced in the scene references or mentioned in the scene
Mm-hmm.
references, then it would have been fine because the assembly doesn't give a fuck after that. That hey, do I have something under it?
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, it would have been fine.
I see. So, okay. So you were saying just because the scene has kind equal to assembly,
Mm-hmm.
so all the descendants of scene need to have a model kind.
No, the scene
So,
reference had model. The scene reference in the first line.
like the
Look at the first
scene
line. Look at the
reference,
first line.
yeah, house asset. So what it is? Oh, so the reference that it is doing house asset, it has model kind
That is under what?
component.
No, that is under block 7. Block O7.
Directly, it references under block 7. It is not block 7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's under block 7.
Yeah.
And block 7 has
So,
no kind opinion.
yeah.
So that means there is a gap in the model hierarchy.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm asking. Right. That even though scene above it
Hmm.
is kind equal to assembly. So this is assembly
Yes.
and the house asset which is under block is component.
Uh-huh.
But block zero
But
seven does not have it.
yes, 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 yes.
Oh, that is why it will break the chain.
Yes.
Breaking the chain. So the model hierarchy is broken, every ancestor of a component. But my question is, will this affect composition? Like, will the composition be affected due to this?
No, I think composition won't be affected with this because that's only for metadata purposes. But
Authoring kind equal to group on block 7, restore the contiguous chain of group kinded. Okay. Missing.
no, composition won't be affected at all because this is only for purely reference part.
So
Like,
A should be an answer, bro. So A should be
no,
a right
how
answer
would
over
A be
here.
an answer, dude? It's asking about the
Read what is it.
model.
The missing kind is harmless because the kind is advisory metadata and is not consulted by composition.
It's I we know, but the question was about which statement about this model hierarchy are correct. We are the
Oh,
question.
about model hierarchy.
The
Okay.
question was about that. It's not about composition. That is the thing.
Hmm.
So because of that, A is incorrect. We have to look at the question as well.
Okay, brother. Okay. 47 was incorrect. Let me mark.
Uh,
Incorrect for myself. All right, 48. Answer is A. We have answered correct. A. Composition is cache, but value resolution is not. So retrain,
retain, not
retain a USD attribute query or USD resolver info to cache resolution data for the repeated reads. Yes, we know this now. We have completed this. A profile shows a tool spending most of the time rereading blah blah blah. Remittances composition caching should already make this fast. What is the correct diagnosis? Composition is cache, but value resolution is not. Okay, 49. Answer you have correct. I have wrong. Wow.
XForm API is a non-applied. A developer authors a transform on a USD geom XForm via USD geom.xform common API and then runs prim.get applied schema expecting to see XForm common API listed. It is
A
absent.
developer author
Here do
transform on USD
the
geom
author
X
of
form via
CA.
USD geom prim dot get applied schemas. Expecting to see XForm common API listed. Get applied schemas. Okay, it is absent. Why? Where do the authored operations live? XForm common API is non-applied API schema. XFAM common API is a non-applied API schema, so it is never recorded in API schema. It just authors plain XFAM OP attributes. Get applied schema only reports as a schema, so any applied API schema is hidden from it. Okay.
Get applied schemas only report is a schema, so any applied schema is written from it, and I said
It's wrong. So A is the correct answer. Hmm.
oh my god.
I wonder on my own. The question is testing an important distinction, schema distinction. Not every class with API in its name appears in prim get applied schema. USD geom.xform common API is an API helper slash convenience schema, but is not authored onto the prim and as an applied API schema token. Oh, bro, what the fuck does this mean? USD xform common API is an API helper slash convenience schema, but it does not authored onto the prim as an applied API schema token. They expected to see xform common API, but they do not. Why is this? Prim.get applied schemas only return API schemas that are actually authored in the prim's API schemas metadata. Example of the API schema. Def mesh bold prepend API schema material binding API. In that case, get applied schema could show material binding API, but xform common API is different. It is a convenience interface for authoring common transform operations. It does not add this prepend API schema. So get applied schema has nothing to report. Where the author data actually lives, The author transform data lives as normal USD geom example transform OP attribute on the prim. That means attributes like double x3. Okay. So the API called the API dot set translate GF vec 3D. Authors double 3x form OP translate. Okay. The API call blah 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 blah. Author this plus USD author updates USD token uniform token x form OP order. That tells USD the order in which to apply the transform operations. The correct mental model. What is this? XForm, common OPI. Okay, so XForm common API is not applied to the prim. Not applied to the prim. It is a convenience API for authoring standard XForm OPs. API for authoring standard XForm ops. XForm ops. Okay. So the question was the developer authors a transform on USD Geom XForm API XForm via USD Geom XForm common API, then runs prim.get applied schemas, expecting to see XForm common API listed. It is absent. Why and where do the authored ops live? Answer was A. XForm common API is non-applied API schema. Okay. XForm common API is non-applied API schema. So it is never recorded in API schemas. It just authors plain XForm OP attributes. It just authors plain XForm OP attributes. Got it. Hmm. All right. 50. Answer is C, but answer is B. Oh no. Oh shit, we thought this should have been correct.
Six instances are played plays at instance 3 and receives an infer ID 3. Why would be the inferred ID 3? That would be the good question.
0, 1, 2, 3. That's why.
Yeah.
Element index holds. Bruh, this is 3.
What is 3?
The index at which the it is defined
What
1, right?
starts at 0? Yeah, yeah, that's 3, I know. So
So
I
that is why that is what inferred ID means over here.
okay, let
I think this is what they are saying as well.
what is
Number of placed instances. Okay, let me read the question one more time. A USD geom point instance or authors relative prototypes. Prototype, bolt, washer, nut.
what's the inferred ID?
Proto indices are 200120. A matching position array and no IDs attribute.
Oh yes, the element index 3, yes. Okay. Because since it did not had no ID attribute. So IDs are inferred based on the zero base index. Oh, and we went with the number over there. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Shit.
But what is the reasoning? Like, how is that?
No, dude. The reasoning is that it has no IDs attribute. So do you remember there was an IDs array as well? You can also map them by ID if you want your proto indices.
Mm, One second. Ali Peaks. Hmm. Proto indices 200120, a matching position array, and no ID attribute, no IDs attribute, how many instances are placed, and which prototype and inferred ID belong to the instance at element index 3. Hmm, I see. At element index 3, which prototype and inferred ID? Which prototype and inferred ID belong to the instance at element index 3?
So at index 3, and that would be the inferred ID as
But
well.
the question, see, what is it asking? So this is asking which prototype and inferred ID belong to the instance at element index 3, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is not the inferred
No,
ID.
it's not inferred ID. The inferred ID is the index ID basically, like the index position.
The
That's
number of
what
placed
that's
instances
what
equals the
that's what
wait,
point
wait, wait.
instancer will look at. That is the thing. That's what point instancer will look at. Point instancer doesn't know that there is a value one over there. When point instancer tries to infer, okay, what ID?
Okay. So with no IDs attribute, in each instance ID is inferred from its element index in the proto indices. So the instance at index 3 receives ID 3 using nut. Okay, no. Yeah, this is okay.
Hmm,
Okay, we can keep this in mind.
yeah,
Fuck, bro. Fuck. This should have been correct. This answer should have been correct.
no worries.
Damn. Fuck yes. Fuck the pancho. 51. Again, wrong, I think. B. The answer is B.
B or
A
D?
student answer is B. We have answered D.
The custom AI resolver plugins translate the alias identifier into consumable resources. With no resolver, plugin represents.
Bro, do you remember the question? You smart
I'm just
ass. Reading the answer
looking at
directly.
the answer first. Okay, what is the answer? And then we also went with the default resolver. But
Reverse engineering. I see.
brother, I was just taking a studio reference for props with database alias identifier like TV chair, rev approved, resolved by custom. A resolver plugin that queries the service and returns the concrete revision data at load time. On an artist's laptop, the plugin is not installed. Yet, the reference with the data path still loads, which statement explains both behavior. Hmm. We went with the default resolver path. The default resolver translates the alias and the custom plugins and plugin handles just relative path reference. The search bar and the okay, it's saying that the first custom resolver will kick in, and then AR resolver, and then our default no resolve default resolver will kick in. It's saying that instead of, because in the question it's saying that we have two database alias identifiers resolved by an custom that requires a service and returns concrete. Wait, but how the fuck the custom AR resolver kicks in if there is no plugin installed? Dude, what the fuck?
A studio references props with database alias identifiers like db slash share rev approved resolved by custom AI resolver plugin that queries a service and returns concrete revision data at load time. On an artist's laptop, the plugin is not installed. Yet a scene that references at the rate set kitchen USD with relative path still loads correctly, which statement explains both behaviors. Answer is B. The custom AI resolver plugin translates the aliased identifiers into consumable resources. Consumable resources. With no with no resolver plugin present, USD falls back to the default resolver, which locates
Do not
relative path references via search paths.
AR resolver plugin installed in the other person's laptop.
The
Oh
question
wait,
is testing async
wait.
resolution.
It says AI default resolver is used. Dude, that question is incorrect. I would say. Sorry, that option is incorrect. Like in a way that it's saying AI resolver, but wait, what the option says AR resolver, not default resolver. Default resolver.
Damn. Do you understand the question though?
Yeah.
The
I
study guide
was able to understand the
call.
question, but I'm just confused with why B is a correct option, even though they are saying that the default resolver is AR default resolver. Like in the question, it's saying that okay, we have a plugin with with this. We in one of our clients' laptop or the other. Let's say we have two laptops. A laptop, in that you have a
Mhm,
plugin AR resolver installed, and you're trying to reference a database, right? And that
mhm,
plugin basically resolves that database to whatever the file path or whatever exists in the system. But in the other
mhm.
person's laptop, you do not have that plugin installed, right?
Yeah, but still
Still,
the.
it runs like somehow it
Yeah.
resolves the path, right? So the
Mhm.
question over here is, how does it work? That is the main question. How does it work, right? So it says the custom AR resolver plugin translate the alias identifier into consumable resources, and with no resolver plugin represents USD fallback to default resolver which locates. So the point at which it says the custom AR resolver plugin translates. So over here, how the fuck is custom resolver AR resolver plugin is getting in the first place? Because even though the plugin is not installed at any point.
Mm-hmm. I see.
With no Oh, okay, 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 okay. By the process of elimination, brother. By the process of elimination, D is incorrect. Because default resolver never translates alias identifiers. That was the problem. Default resolvers translate the alias identifier, so they'd never do that. They only resolve the relative path references.
I see.
That's why. Whereas custom AR resolver plugin translates the alias identifier into consumable resources. That's why. Ooh, this was a trick question. By the process of elimination.
Wait, let me understand over here. This question is testing asset resolution. The study guide calls this what the fuck? Well, the question is saying the studio references asset like this. Def XFORM chair preprint references. DB chair rev approved. So this is so I think this at the rate DB colon slash slash. This is like a database. What
That's
do you
an
say?
alias. That's an alias path, first of all. That's the most important thing over here. That's an alias
Okay.
path. That's what asset custom asset
What
resolver.
does that mean exactly? It is a database style asset identifier.
Yes, that's an alias. So at the rate DB is an alias.
This path is not a normal file path. It is a database style asset identifier. DB chair rev approved. It probably means asset chair and revision approved. USD itself does not automatically know how to load that. The studio's custom AR resolver plugin knows how to interpret that. What the custom AR resolver does, the resolver receives DB blah blah blah. Then it takes some service database. What concrete file data is approved chair revision. The service might return something like slash studio asset chair revision chair v042 USDC, or maybe cache package or in memory assets. So the flow is USD reference path DB chair rev approved custom AR resolver queries asset database service resolved list concrete approved revision data. That explains the first behavior why the artist's laptop still loads the relative paths. The artist's laptop does not have the custom resolver plugin installed. Why the artist still loads the relative path. There's not a custom resolver installed, so it cannot resolve this, but it can resolve this. Right, because that is a normal relative file system path. USD has built-in default asset resolution for ordinary file paths. A custom resolver is only needed for custom identifier schema like DB. Okay. Correct answer. Idea. The correct statement is AR resolver is the asset resolution abstraction. A custom resolver can interpret non-file system identifiers such as this, but normal relative file system assets paths still work through USD's default resolver behavior. Without plugin, the custom DB path cannot be resolved, but ordinary relative paths like certification USD can still load.
So
Wait, what? And
yes,
so The default resolver translates the alias to
But this is
identify.
this
What
is
is the
where we went
answer?
wrong. Like the first line was
51 is B. Okay.
uh,
The custom AI resolver plugin translates that alias identifiers into consumable resources, and with no resolver plugin present, USD falls back to default resolver, which locates relative path reference via search paths. Yet seen that references this with a relative path. Oh, on an artist's laptop, plugin is not yet a seen that. Oh, yes. Bruh.
trick.
Bruh.
This is what happens this is what you get when you ask Claude Code Opus to give you the hardest quiz.
But this is much better, bro. Like this, I think this will help us.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, we covered a lot of topics through this quiz, like schema versioning, AR resolver, and then what else? This fucking
Yeah.
what did we do over here? Some shit. Uh, whatever property stack. This question. Anyway, let's move forward. 52 should be C and E. Answer is C and E. Correct. Let me mark for this answer as incorrect as well. So DCC exporter must support round tripping an asset back into the same application later, which two practices best preserve fidelity for that round trip. So this is again data exchange, minimize transformation in the round trip workflow since extensive reshaping complicates reversing the changes. Mhm. Keep the extract phase or direct faithful translation of the source so it stays easy to reverse on re-import. Hmm. I see. Easy to reverse on re-import. Hmm.
Faithful translation of the source so it stays easy to reverse on import.
Wish to practice. The exporter must support round tripping an asset back into the same application later, which to practices preserve fidelity for that round trip. Minimize transformations in the round trip workflow since extensive reshaping complicates transformation in the round trip workflow. Keep the extract phase a direct faithful translation of the source so it stays easy to reverse on re-import. What is data transformation? Okay. An aggregate rack. Alright, 53 is B.
But why have you selected
Told ya. No, I don't know. I was doing something like I was trying something out, I guess.
an aggregate as rack asset is referenced and instanceable inside its content? Each palette child is itself referenced and instanceable. The rack appears twice, and each rack holds three identical palettes. What does this nested instancing accomplish? One prototype is generated for rack subgraph, and a separate prototype is generated for the palette subgraph. So both repeated racks and repeated palettes within them are shared.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it was for referencing and instanceable.
Instancing.
Ooh.
53 was right. All right, 54 is B. Is correct. I think this was easy. That's why. The simple encapsulation bullshit.
Hmm.
54 is B. 55 is B
Render.
again, and we are correct. Render and proxy.
Yeah, this was
A
also so
prop
far.
ship, yeah, a prop ships a heavy final quality mesh used only at render time and a lightweight stand-in shown while navigating a viewport. Which USD geoimageable purpose token pair expresses this? And what does the purpose control? Render and proxy. Proxy. I was getting confused in render and guide and render and proxy. So I just need to understand which gate whether each subtree is included during a given scene graph traversal. What does that mean? Which gate?
Which gate, whether each subtree is included during a scene graph traversal. Prop ships a heavy final quality mesh used only at render time and a lightweight state.
Heavy final quality mesh purpose render proxy lightweight viewport mesh. Lightweight viewport mesh is proxy. The study guide lists USD geoimageable and imageable purpose under visualization topics. So this is exactly render viewport classification question. It is asking how do I mark one piece of geometry as the real render geometry and another piece of lightweight viewport navigation representation in USD. This is done with purpose attribute on USD imageable prims. So this is how it is done. Simple USD example, def xform prop, def mesh final mesh, uniform token purpose render, heavy final render geometry, def mesh proxy mesh, uniform token purpose proxy, lightweight viewport navigation geometry. What purpose controls? Okay. What is this imageable prim intended to be used for? It lets tool decide which geometry to include depending on the context. Purpose render use this for final rendering, usually heavy high quality geometry. Purpose proxy use this for viewport interaction navigation, usually lightweight. Okay. Use this for guide, not usually final renderable. Okay, so there are four types of purpose. Let me note this down. This is important. Honorable. Render proxy. Mm-hmm. Final rendering, heavy high quality. Final rendering, heavy high quality proxies, viewport interaction, lightweight, viewport, lightweight, guide helpers, not finally renderable, not final, default, normal default, imageable geometry, normal slash default, imageable geometry. This is imageable. An imageable purpose. So this is exactly a render viewport classification question. So viewport में से show default hide render find render में से जो purpose render proxy purpose control which imageable memory render okay got it 56 answer is CND we did CND correct. Real-time configurator toggles two variant sets on kiosk. Asset tint flips input diffuse color values switching layout and activates or deactivates child presence pops up layout or file references brings in which should correctly classify these switches or performance. Bro,
Hmm.
watch the chat.
Who's there?
I don't know
Someone
who
would
that is.
someone would be asking, "What are you guys doing? Why the fuck are you not writing proper descriptions, brother?"
I am writing proper description. What are you saying?
Then why the why are people not able to understand what we doing? No one is watching, bro. What bro is doing? Get some job, man. What you guys even doing? At the point, I'm feeling so bad. Where I'm going to buy. Who the fuck, bro? It is a part of graphic programming. Any context, someone was there to support as well. Crazy.
Bro, it is part of graphics programming. Any context,
Is
it is
the
part of.
person wanted to ask? Is it part of graphics programming? Any context?
I think yes, some partially.
But wait, why doesn't this YouTube chat give you a time? Like when somebody texted you or something like that? All messages visible. Top chat. What the fuck? No one gives a shit. No,
I'll put it over here on the screen if you want.
bro, I can see it as well, but fuck it.
No, so that I know that
Yeah.
somebody
YouTube
is,
doesn't have a notification thing or something like that.
it doesn't.
Fuck. We are fucked.
Mhm. All right, 56 is C and D.
Hmm.
Switching layout is heavyweight because activation changes and reference swaps rebuilds part of the composition index. Switching layout is heavyweight because activation changes and reference swaps rebuilds part of composition. Yes. We will only resolve attribute value changes. Yes. We know this composition part. 56 was easy. 57th was A and C. That is correct as well. Wow. On answer, stronger sublayer custom data. Oh, this was easy. 58 is B. It's incorrect. We answered
If
D. Answer
platform
was
keeps the
B.
scene data only in live memory database that is continuously updated, the stakeholder insists that the data should stay authoritative source that a stage compose against directly with no exported snapshot. Which integration approach fits and why? A file format plugin because it lets a large stage compose non-file sources directly and keep the source as a source of truth. And D, standalone converter because it can run as a microservice that directly dumps. That is continuously updated and the file okay first so it's continuously updated, okay, and then a stakeholder insists that database stay authoritative source that stage compose against directly with no exported snapshot of file because what does this authoritative source means over here? Authoritative source.
Nobody down.
What does authoritative source means? Let's see the authoritative source that a stage
Nobody down.
one system whose data is treated as the canonical or correct version that everyone must read from. Okay, okay. So is that compose stage and
Telemetry platform holds its seen data system data streams against directly with next photo snapshot.
oh, dude, the hint was right over there. Like in so the scene data only in a live in memory database. It's live in a in memory database. That is like maybe Redis or something else. So that's why we need a file format plugin for that, not a standalone converter. But why not a standalone converter? Ooh. Okay, so the stand-alone converter is not a good answer because the question says that the database should stay as an authoritative source. Authoritative source means single source of truth over here. That means we should always pull the data directly from the database rather than loading it somewhere else. So when we use a standalone converter basically snapshots the database and creates a two source of truth at this point, and that is contradictory to what the question want us to do. Because of that, B is an appropriate answer.
Telemetry platform holds its seen data only in a live in-memory database that is continually updated, and stakeholder insists the database stay authoritative Source. And okay, that composes against directly with no export or snapshot. Where integration approach fits and why? Okay, D is not right. Okay, file format plugin because it lets stage compose non-file sources directly and keeps the source as the source of the truth. File format plugin is the right choice because it is OpenUSD's unique mechanism for composing not just files but non-file based sources such as database directly. Non-file sources such as database directly as reference payload or sublet translated on the fly, allowing the database to remain the source of truth with no pre-export. A standalone converter that periodically dumps a file with a wrong dumps to a file is wrong because the produces a stale exported snapshot rather than letting the live database remain authoritative. A DCC exporter is wrong because there is no host application. No, just because it's non. Okay. Okay. Hmm. What are exactly file format plugins? When you see this file type, here is how to read it as using description and possibly how to write it back. The study customizing USD understand another format too. File format. So instead of pre-converting CAD files, blah blah blah. Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense a little bit. This is magic to improve. Bro, that dude was saying nobody is watching. I see three people are watching.
Fucking,
Oh,
fucking.
two people, sorry.
So the responsible thing you should have to do is cut your losses.
Bro, stop using Cloud Code and doing your trading during the fucking stream.
Dude, I am predicting a collapse of a biggest Ponzi scheme that ever existed, and the collapse has just started. Based on my experience, I'm saying
What?
MSTR will go to zero.
Let's short it, bro. Let's short it.
Yeah, that's my plan, but I'm gonna wait a while first to see what the market says, because that fucker just sold that 32 million Bitcoin, sorry, 32 BTC, and took to just pay the dividend, dude. He's running a crazy Ponzi scheme.
MSTR, right?
Yes, bro, MSTR. Yeah, this thing, yeah, STR. See, that's what I mean. Yeah, this one. My bad.
Michael Saraswati sells to raise cash. You pay $100 for share, blah, blah, blah.
So I will tell you in short. So this, so if you hold this stock, go up a bit. I will tell you, go up.
Let me ask Grok over here.
Or are you paying for the premium?
Yeah.
Oh, okay then.
I have the blue tick mark, so I think I should be able to,
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely. Then you should be able to.
Is this hinting to a Ponzi scheme?
How long does it take for Grok?
I don't know.
I think it
This is
takes
the first
30.
time I tried
I
one
think
view.
it usually takes 30 minutes. Sorry, 30 seconds or a minute.
So what were you saying?
So you see this STRC?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this thing, Michael Saylor says that if you hold this, right, like for a
Mm-hmm.
long time from 22nd December to 22nd June, like for 2 years, this
Mm-hmm.
thing was trading at $100, right?
Yeah.
He was saying that if you have 100 shares, he's gonna pay you 11.5% dividend of what you hold, right?
Uh-huh.
That was his strategy.
And he sold 32 Bitcoin to just pay the dividend for these
Yes,
people.
yes. And because of that, so
Uh,
basically he is trying to now he was doing this by selling his underlying asset based on which the whole thing exists, and this is going to create a cascading failure or cascading, I would say, big shot, I would say, and eventually it's going to go to zero.
okay. Grok replied,
Yeah.
no, not a classic Ponzi. Preferred stock, it targets $100 par, pays a highly monthly dividend, and raised capital, buys more Bitcoin. The company tries to defend the price by adjusting the dividend rate. Hmm.
Show more. Oh,
Now show more. The trend spider
you see.
thread correctly flags this mechanical risk when it trades well below par $82. Is showing new shares become uneconomic. Dividends still need paying, and they've already sold Bitcoin to cover it. That can trigger the negative loop they described. Key difference from a Ponzi: transparent public structure with a real Bitcoin collateral, contractual preferred dividends, not fake returns, no hidden fraud. Saylor has been vocal about the model. It's a leveraged Bitcoin yield instrument with clear structural vulnerabilities in weak markets, high risk, and cyclical pressure. Absolutely outright Ponzi, no.
Mm,
It's saying no.
yes, brother, but it's saying no right now because Bitcoin is trading at 62. If Bitcoin drops more,
Hmm.
he's gonna get fucked up a lot. Bitcoin is already trading at 62, so I'm just betting that Bitcoin drops more because no one is willing to buy Bitcoin right now. Like either he would
Yeah.
have to call in some favors from some big companies
Hmm.
to push Bitcoin, or he gets
Hmm.
liquidated.
He gets what?
Liquidated, like because
Oh,
his underlying asset is Bitcoin and his average price is I think 85K or something.
I see. Okay, let's complete this.
Last one.
Answer is B and D. It's
Wait,
wrong.
how many did
We
we
answered A and D.
A and D? Okay. OpenUSD caches the prim level composition index. Okay, yeah, dude, this was something that we are confused with all the
A
time.
bake utility resolves robot arm once per 500 frame shortly computing the same sort of profile shows the bulk of time spent re-resolving that single attribute. The author assumes that because the stage was already composed at load time, the per frame reads should be nearly free, which two statements OpenUSD caches the prim level composition index when the stage is open, but does not pre-compute resolved attribute values. So each per frame read reruns value resolution. That is true. Retaining a USD attribute query for the attribute lets the tool cache the resolution setup. And answer repeated. Yes, resolve. Why did we select A then? Resolved attribute values are memorized after the first read of each attribute. So oh my god, why did we choose A?
Because dude,
Damn.
we were freaking confused with
The value resolution and composition
yes,
cache.
because we were like, okay, your
Yeah.
cache is composition index when the stage is
Yeah,
open,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and this one is
Okay,
correct.
last. BNC is correct.
Yeah, this one.
Damn. What was the developer separating the roles USD geom imageable and USD geom gprem? In the USD geom hierarchy, which two statements are great based on reliable geometric parameters? A developer is separating the roles of USD geom imageable and USD geom gprem in the USD geom hierarchy. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I have this. Oh, 1 second. Let me also mark that question as incorrect. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 incorrect. 48 out of 60.
Oh, I think I might have 15 or 16 incorrect, or more than
You
that.
have 46 out
Oh,
of 60.
failed. Failed.
48 out of 60 is what?
Oh,
80%.
76%. 76. And how many do you have?
48.
Oh,
It
40.
is dot 80%.
Yes, not 80%. But what is a passing percentage? Is it 60 or sorry, is it
It is
70
70
to
to 80.
70 to 80? Fuck us. We have to score.
Bro, that's what I've been asking you. Like, where
Dude,
did you
like
see?
then, so no, so I did ask Cloud Code, and he said that it's gonna be 70 to 80, and everywhere it says that it depends upon the number of questions you get. So I don't know if you get 70, the
Mhm.
percentage is more or less. I don't know.
I think I think if the questions are more, then the percentage would be
Less.
less, like 70, 75% or something
I don't know. So and if the questions are less, then the it should be
more, like 80%.
80%. Damn.
So for 60 questions, it is 80%, I am
Uh,
guessing.
yeah, yeah.
I passed 48 out of 60.
It's fine.
It was a tough questions, like tough fucking. But wait, let me fucking. Ain't no grave. Hole in my. Gprim is the base type for renderable geometric primitives and usability. Yes. Oh, this one I knew. Okay. Okay. 48 out of 60. Come on, let's go. But the thing is, we took a lot of time. We won't have like this much time in the exam.
Yes, brother. Yes.
So we can start glossary. Let me be right back. I'll
All
bring a Diet Coke.
right.
And then we'll finish the glossary and then we'll do data exchange. What was I made for? I'll be right. Where the fuck you go? Wow. There's some baddies in my building, bro. Straight up. But what can I do? All right. So we were at layer. We did layer, right?
Yeah.
We're on layer offset, I think. Hmm. Layer offset. No. Oh, what? It does not talk about any layer offset though. Layer stack, Aki. Hmm. Where's layer offset? A
I
layer
think
offset adjusts time values when composing layers through sublayer references or payloads. Uses an offset value added to time codes. This is something that we've already seen yesterday. Multiplies time codes to retime animated data non-destructively during composition following the formula scale time equals to time into scale plus offset. Yes, this is what we read yesterday. Layer time offset. Time into scale plus offset. Where was it? Hmm. Layer stack. A layer stack is an ordered list of sublayers combined to form a single. Do you want to go over layer offset more,
no,
or is
no.
it
I did
fine?
we went through layer offset yesterday thoroughly, so yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Layer time offset. Okay. Layer stack. A layer stack is an ordered list of sublayers combined to form a single namespace composition starting from root layer. Yes, yes. USD recursively gathers sublayers into layer stack where stronger layer override the weaker ones. Layer stacks are the fundamental units that composition arcs like references and payloads target, with each layer stack maintaining its own namespace and optional session layers for interactive overrides. Also known as layer stack. Layer stack, okay. Sublayers. No. Okay, so this is what was open in layer stack. Layer stack are keystone to understanding composition. Recursive gathering, yes, composition arcs. I'm just trying to see if there's something that we might have missed. Otherwise, it's like easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's fine.
Important to understand composition for two reasons. Composition arcs target layer stacks and not layers. When a layer references or payloads or sublayers, another layer it is targeting and therefore composing not just the data in the single layer but all the data in strength order in the layer stack rooted at the targeted sublayer. Targeted layer. Composition arcs target layer stacks, not layers. Okay. Container through which references can be list edited. Bro, I want to understand. Do you know what is list edited?
You remember list edited we had the
I forget.
prepend and append list that thing in USD.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do prepend references, it's gonna get added in the front, and when we do append, it's gonna get added into the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is mentioning over here. So if you click on list edited, you're just gonna say the same thing about the thing that we read earlier. How list editing works in OpenUSD, how references are added onto a list and they are sparsely selected. So you can select a list, you can select a reference in a list at any point, and you can also remove it if you want to. And that's how OpenUSD also uh, go through the list when go through the references list whenever we play with it. And you cannot add two lists at the same time when you do append. That is all. Sorry, two references. So, like, you cannot add an array that has two references as inside that list.
Oh, this is gonna be the next one. List editing. Okay. Container through which references can be inserted. Many of the composition arcs as well as relationships. Describe not just single target but an orderable list of targets that will be processed in order according to the type of the arc. References can be list edited among the layers of the layer stack. This can be a powerful method of non-destructively changing the large-scale structure of scene as it flows down the pipeline. For example, you might have a generic version of special added in the scene or the sequence level. Sequence fx.usd, which is reference of the same layers tag as sequence fx.usd because one of the short layers, sublayers in the sequence.usd layer, which in turn sublayers the above sequence fx.usd layer. Okay. Bro, do you know how do we get the transcript for a particular YouTube video? There
There
used to be
is
some options, right?
there
And
is a site. There is a site, like, just do Google
no,
YouTube.
on YouTube itself, it used to give transcripts, but now it has stopped for some reason.
I don't know. Like, there was an option, option in the settings when you play the video. It has an option
Yeah.
about live transcripts, but I think it depends upon the person who has created it. That is the thing. But I think they might have stopped it, or subtitles. Subtitles will show you the transcript first.
Video description, show transcript. Where's show transcript? Oh, show transcript. Here it is. I see. Download transcript, toggle timestamps. How to download the transcript? Can you copy this? Oh. Mm-hmm. Looking like a true survival. And I'm feeling. What? Riverside. Bruh. These motherfuckers. Because what I'm trying to do is what? Is this link wrong or what? Oh, finally. Fuck you, bro. Fuck this shit. Everything is paid. Text file. Oh, nice. This works. All right. I will create a new quiz based on these 6 videos that we have. Hyundai. All right. Back to this.
All right.
So layer stack has anything else important? It is not just enough to add on extra reference because the prem from turbulence.usd will shine through. We must also remove the weaker reference, which we can do while list editing. Mhm. Looking like a chosen man.
Now with the short level, we have short effects dot layer. I see.
Fuck. Where the fuck? Oh.
Bitch. Room is out.
Hmm? What time is it? 2:45.
Yes. 2:45 is the time when Tiger is awake as well. My Tiger. The other Tiger is sleeping. Oh,
But he might be awake as well.
no, brother.
How would you know?
Bro, for sure, bro. He has office in the morning. My ass, he will be awake. Bro's telling me you will get burnt out. Like, bro, if I get burnt out, I can do some recreational stuff like running. Like, no. I'm like, okay, brother. Burnouts. What can you do with burnouts?
Nice. We
Burnout.
have
Well,
good
like, but I
news.
have I have work from home, so I do not have burnout. I have,
That's true.
yeah,
That is true.
dude. If you have work from home, then it's like a blessing.
That is true.
He also has,
Bro, the
he can also do work from home, but he does not want to, because for some reason he's like, if I don't go to office, then I'm lazy. I'm like, okay, whatever,
hmm
brother.
I see.
Lethargic, he's lethargic.
hmm All right, list editing.
A layer is an atomic persistent container of a scene description for USD. A layer contains zero or more prem specs that in turn describe property metadata values. Each layer possesses an identifier that can be used to construct reference to the layer from other layers. SDF layer provides both the document model for layers and an interface by which USD authors to extract data from layers. The SDF layer interface serves data according to the USD prim property metadata model, but the actual encoding of data in the backing file is quite flexible with SDF file format plugin interface. Wait, the actual encoding of data in the backing file is
Where are you reading? What are you reading?
reading layer right now. I'm implementing a subclass or SDF file format associated with
hmm
the we can enable direct USD references of layers, expressing as files in any format whose encoding can be reasonably translated into USD. This is not only how USD support direct conversion Alembic ABC, but also using native text on the player data authors to remain in memory until actual layers. Layer save is called on the program if a program is writing more data than it's in the program more and often it uses USD native grammaric records as default. Okay, and data authored by layers application driven horizontal safe. Okay, calling layer of sure I proper value from only the upgrade variant format possesses this specialty property. Users of their intention can only be written now. It can actually be represented to online and cannot be digested easily, but it cannot be authored intuitively and must always be kept in memory. The formats do not allow incremental saving because they must transfer using encoding. I thought it's the
Stronger layer does not always replace an entire list. It can search clear data weaker list best.
corporation. It will be of time to apply during to regulation for all data composed for large because it will say movie or general also office compose that if you reference saving and the transfer to trace of the layer so composition of language so it's not layer from layer of the through the different listed.
What is your average BPM, bro? Heart rate.
I don't know. I don't know, brother. I think I would have to get Fitbit soon, or I'm just waiting for a good deal. I think there might be some deal on 4th of July. I will get some.
hmm I think Google is going to give it out free with a subscription or something soon.
Oh, the Whoop strategy. So if you Cancel the subscription, they take it back. Bitch.
Brother, they are gonna make you pay first for some months before giving you the fucking thing.
Mhm.
They are a fucking $3 to $4 trillion company. They are not stupid motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they will come with some good deal. Like
Yeah.
for sure they're gonna give you for 6 months or something, or 3 months, at least 3 months free, maybe. And then they will like, yes, give us the fucking money, bitch.
Bro, the fucking band is so expensive. The fucking thing is like $100 and the band is $34. I want to change the color. Oh, you can also get the Google Fitbit Charge 6. It has a screen as well. And it's like the same price.
Wow. Mhm. Yes, I was correct about list editing. You can sparsely modify.
Is it possible that you are wrong?
No, brother. It is
Is that possible, bro?